Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're cutting right through the Monday Night Football noise from Week 11, Cowboys versus Raiders.
Yeah, that's right. Dallas gets the win, 33-16.
But that score, it doesn't even begin to tell the real story here.
Not at all.
So our mission today is to figure out the why. We want to look at the strategic moves, which teams' investments actually paid off, and, well, which teams' failures basically guaranteed a collapse from the start.
And this game was absolutely monumental for Dallas. I mean, that 33-16 win, it finally snaps that really tough two-game losing streak.
Puts them at 4-5-1.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for a team where, people were saying their slim playoff hopes were on life support, this was just a huge morale boost. It showed a kind of resilience that, frankly, a lot of our sources were questioning if they even had.
Resilience is the perfect word for it because they did not start strong.
Oh, no. It was a slow start.
But then suddenly the offense just shifted into overdrive. So let's start right there. Dak Prescott, the sources are all calling it a prolific performance.
Well, the numbers certainly back that up. He completes 25 of his 33 passes, 268 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That's surgical.
Look flawless on paper.
It does. But we have to remember the context here. Our sources are quick to point out that Prescott has had, the occasional clunker this season.
Right.
So what really impressed me in this game wasn't just the final stat line, it was his commitment to getting both George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb involved consistently. That balance is what makes that passing game so hard to stop.
Okay, but let's inject a little skepticism here. Because you said surgical, you said efficient.
I did.
But our sources also point out that Lamb dropped a potential 5th touchdown pass late in the game.
A fair point. It wasn't perfect.
So that detail makes me wonder, was this a truly command performance? Or was he still forcing a few throws where he needed that elite talent to bail him out?
I think the bulk of the evidence still points toward efficiency. Look, he spread those 4 touchdowns to 4 different players. That's a sign of command, not desperation.
That's a good point.
And if we're going to talk about that elite talent, we have to talk about the pregame drama. Because maybe the biggest story coming out of that locker room was the coach's decision.
Ah, yes. This is the juicy detail, right? This is what makes it more than just a game recap.
Absolutely.
Their 2 biggest receiving threats, George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, are benched for the entire first offensive series. In a must-win game. That is a massive psychological gamble from a head coach.
A huge risk. It was a message, and the way they responded tells you everything you need to know about their mindset.
They didn't pout.
They performed. Pickens was he was utterly dominant. Led the team, game-high 144 yards on 9 catches.
And his touchdown was a real statement, wasn't it? To just slice right through that Raiders defense for a 37-yard score. It was like he was proving a point on that one.
He was. And Lamb followed his lead, 5 catches, 66 yards, and he got the team's first touchdown. So that benching, it basically generated about 210 receiving yards of pure rage.
I like that.
What that response really shows you is that resilience we talked about. A less disciplined duo, a less talented one, could have let that drama just derail the whole night.
For sure.
Instead, they took the message and immediately put the offense back on track.
Okay, so the offense got the message, loud and clear. But honestly, I think the bigger story, the one that really defines this deep dive, is what was happening on the other side of the ball. The Cowboys' offense only had that luxury, that time to settle down, because their defense played what sources are calling one of its best games.
And this is where it gets really interesting for anyone, for you, who's interested in front office strategy. This is a masterclass in midseason resource allocation.
Explain that.
Dallas wasn't just winning with the guys who started the season. They were winning because of new acquisitions and key players coming back from injury. They systematically upgraded the depth at all 3 levels of that defense.
Okay, let's unpack that system then. Because when you say acquisitions, the name on everyone's mind is Quinnen Williams, the big trade deadline steal. What was his measurable impact in this game?
It was profound, highly disruptive. He logs 1.5 sacks and was just putting consistent pressure on Geno Smith all night long.
So he was a difference maker?
He was, but the crucial insight here is that Williams' success wasn't just about his own talent. It was about the structure around him that allowed him to play to his strengths.
So how did the other guys, the linebackers, enable that? Because we saw DeMarvion Overshown come back from that knee injury.
Right.
And Logan Wilson was the other trade deadline guy they got.
This is where the tactical side gets fun. With Overshown and Wilson on the field, the run containment immediately got better. And what that does is it allows the defensive coordinator to run more complex fronts.
Okay.
And crucially, it frees up a guy like Williams to just focus on one thing,
Yeah.
Getting upfield. Rushing the passer, he doesn't have to worry about two-gapping against the run. That confidence from the second level creates a cascade of success up front.
So it's not just we got better players. It's more like we got players who let our best players be even more specialized and effective.
Precisely. And that systemic improvement, it flowed all the way back to the secondary. They looked so much better with Siobhan Ravel and Malik Hooker returning from their injuries.
The whole unit looked different.
It's a completely different unit, and when you look at the big picture, these additions give Dallas the depth and the flexibility you absolutely need to get through the tough schedule they have coming up. This is a deeper, more competitive team than they were 2 weeks ago.
And that idea of instant competence on defense, it's such a sharp contrast to the deep systemic failures we saw from the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, yeah.
If Dallas was a lesson in smart allocation, the Raiders were a textbook case of systemic negligence. Las Vegas really is a tale of two units.
And you have to start with Maxx Crosby. He's the blue chip stud. He's elite. No question. Showcased it right away, too. That strip sack on Dak Prescott early in the game, it sets up a field goal, gives the Raiders a lead, however brief it was.
He's got that incredible get-off.
Excellent get-off and a high motor. He's their best player. Full stop.
But his performance almost feels wasted. Tragically wasted. His excellence just highlights how devastatingly bad their offensive unit was.
It really does.
So if Crosby is the stud, the Raiders' offensive line is, according to pretty much all our sources, the league's worst.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a brutal assessment, but the game film backs it up.
It's more than brutal. It's analytically damning. This is what we call the negation effect.
The negation effect.
Yeah, Las Vegas, under Pete Carroll, they want to establish the run. They want a power run game. But the blocking is so bad, it mathematically negates their major investments in other players.
Give us the single most damning stat that proves that.
It's easy. Look at their first-round pick, running back Ashton Genty.
Okay.
Against Dallas, he had 7 yards on 6 carries.
Wow.
That is less than 1.2 yards per attempt. That number screams one thing, and one thing only. Absolute failure at the point of attack. You can't run the ball when your foundation gets blown up instantly.
I agree. That statistic is just, it's damning. But since Carroll is known for running the ball so well, is there any chance the play calling was just too predictable, that Dallas's new defense could just tee off on them? Or is this purely a structural failure, like you're saying?
Well, you know, predictability is always a small factor. The sources are firm on this. It's structural. This isn't just a failure of execution on one night. It's a failure of construction of the roster itself.
And it affects the whole offense.
The whole thing. It bleeds right into the passing game. Geno Smith was under pressure constantly, sacked 4 times. Any rhythm they wanted to build was just gone. They failed to protect Smith. They failed to protect Genety. And ultimately, they failed to protect their entire offensive philosophy.
So what's the long-term context here? Why would a team commit to a run-heavy coach like Carroll, but then completely fail to give him the most important piece of machinery he needs, the offensive line?
Well, the sources are extremely clear about this. The Raiders just did not spend significant resources to upgrade that line before Carroll's first season.
Unbelievable.
They basically, like we said, brought in a Ferrari driver and gave him a tractor. They have to address this in the offseason. High draft picks, free agency money. Because when your fundamental unit performs this badly, it doesn't matter how great Maxx Crosby is. Your entire strategy just breaks down.
So if we synthesize this for you, the listener, the key takeaways from that 33-16 score are pretty stark.
Very stark.
On the Dallas side, you saw instant, measurable success from smart midseason moves, the Quinnen Williams trade, getting key guys back from injury.
Yep.
And on the Raiders side, you saw the devastating results of systemic negligence, where failing to invest in the fundamentals just negated everything else.
And that distinction, resource deployment versus resource negligence, that's the true strategic lesson of this game. Dallas's win was a statement. It's a statement that smart, timely moves can instantly change a team's ceiling.
And that win, that success, it gives them a huge amount of confidence and energy heading into what is a truly massive Week 12 matchup.
It's the ultimate litmus test, really.
Yeah.
Their next opponent is the Philadelphia Eagles, their division rival.
And we have to remind everyone, the Eagles beat Dallas 24-20 in the season opener.
Exactly. So this win in Week 11, it's not just about snapping a losing streak. It's about generating maximum momentum, resetting the whole narrative right before a huge rematch that could genuinely solidify or completely crush those playoff hopes.
The stakes just couldn't be higher. You've got Dallas at 4-5-1, riding this high from a big win, fueled by new defensive stars, and they're going right up against the division leader. This Monday Night Football performance, it turned what could have been a death knell for their season into a battle cry.
That's a great way to put it. And that brings us right back to the strategic questions from this deep dive. Given the immediate, the measurable impact of a guy like Quinnen Williams and the returning players, we saw quantifiable success in just one game.
Right.
So we have to ask this question. How crucial is that midseason resource allocation? Those shrewd trades, those timely injury returns, compared to the traditional focus on, the offseason draft. Can a few targeted tactical moves in the middle of a season fundamentally turn a team's narrative around and drive playoff hopes more effectively than even a good draft class can?
That is the pivotal question of the modern NFL, isn't it? Can you buy success faster than you can build it? A fantastic thought for you to chew on as the Cowboys get ready for the Eagles. We hope we've given you a nuanced look at how Dallas got that win and maybe why the Raiders lost before the game even started.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll catch you next time.